Okay everyone, I've had this knife for a little bit and I don't even think I did an unboxing video on it. This is probably one you've all seen or watched on YouTube, but I think it's a good one to do another video on. Why? Because it has a lot of features for a lower price. It's in the $45 to $55 range depending on where you get it on the internet. It is made by Buck. I don't buy a lot of knives from Buck, but occasionally they do have some ones that are really cool, nicely styled rather. And I'll say that this particular knife is from a series of knives, all with a very similar knife name. So be careful around which one you buy. I think they're all generally they're the same concept, but they're going to use different materials. Obviously, the more expensive, in theory, I think the quality is going to go up. The one you're looking at is the mid-range one. It's the Buck Vantage Pro knife. Why do I like this knife? It is a very nicely designed knife, in my opinion. I like stylish knives. Well, you may be looking at it, what do you mean? It's just a straight knife with a handle like anything else. Well, I like the drop point. I like the slicer grind. It's mainly all slicing style rather than a lot of unique grinds in it. The other thing is that this knife has some unique features in it, some high-end features that you don't see often in this price range. The steel is made out of S30V. That's a premium steel that you often see in the Sabenzas, the Striders, those other types of knives. Certainly in the Spyderco, of course, as well. So it's a very nice steel. It's going to last a while. In my opinion, it's relatively easy to sharpen. Anyways, look it up. I like the steel. The other thing is this has a Boss heat treatment. It's just the way each steel in the knife is treated to a certain hardness. I'm not a heat treatment expert at all. I just know the name brand of Boss, B-O-S. It's marked on the blade. Is known to be a nicely heat treated knife or steel. So you have those nice features. The other thing that I like about it is it does have the G10 on both sides, which most nice knives come with the G10 rather than what I'm just going to generically term as plastic. There's a lot of knives that have generic plastic, synthetic materials, as if G10's natural, but more plastic type knives are often found in the lower costing knives. So it has the G10, but it also has the smooth scaling of the G10, which you can find, they call it CNC. I've also seen it in the Striders concealed carry. Basically, it's going to fit nicely in your pocket. It's not going to drag on anything in your pocket. It's smooth, so it's kind of almost like a polished, not roughed out, but smoothed out G10. And so that's nice. You don't see that in many of the lower priced knives. And some of you think, well, $55 for a knife, what are you talking about? I mean, yeah, all right, fine. This is still pretty expensive for a pocket knife, but relative to some of the other ones out there, this is not a bad price. The other thing is that this one comes with a flipper. So it has the oval opening, which is similar to the Striders. It's just like a Spyderco in that it's just a punch out of the steel, and rather than a complete circle, this has an oval. So, and then you have the flipper, this little indentation on the back that you just press down, and I slipped there a little bit. Press down, and you can flip it with a little bit of your wrist, and it will open up. So I think it's classified as an assisted opener knife, but the assistance is not done through any kind of spring mechanism at all. So it's just gravity with this little flipper on the back. And what I also like about it is the flipper is not overly protrudent. It's not in the way too much. So you can use it if you want to, or you can just use the oval opening, which works just fine. And is maybe a little bit more controlled and maybe a little bit more normal to what most people are used to. The pocket clip is reversible, so you can put it on this side or this side. The knife is tip up carry. So it would be in your pocket like this, be tip up. The retention is fine. It's I don't see that coming out very easily at all. Blade alignment on mine, it actually is aligned. That means that the blade is centered at the back of it rather than closer to one side or the other. I have seen other videos and read comments that this is a problem with some of the bucks, that the blade's not aligned, or sometimes they scratch against the sides of the knife. I have read that. I did not see that at all with this particular knife. I've heard that Buck has a great warranty program and is quick to fix those types of issues. Okay, so one thing that I will say is that this does come with a liner lock. The liner lock on this one, in my opinion, is a bit too thin. I would like to see it a little bit thicker. When I first got the knife, it was dangerously close to the far left edge there. And so when I first got it and took it out of the box, I flipped it, and hear that last little snap? If you don't hear it, be extremely careful. When I first got the knife, opened it up, and it didn't click like that, but it seemed like it was in place. And when I go to actually use it, it didn't lock and actually came down on my fingers. So out of the box, and that was my very first impression with the knife. So I was actually kind of disappointed, right? I mean, completely unsafe. After opening and closing it a while and using it, the lock bar is starting to move over to the right. Anyways, when you first get these things, break it in, flick it real hard. Make sure you hear that final lock in place, so listen closely. You got to hear that last little shut. Okay, so other than that, I mean, it seems to be breaking in nicely. You know, good mid to low priced knife. Lots of nice materials. Extremely sharp. Very, very sharp. I like the sharpness out of the box. I will say that the extreme tip, you won't see it on the video, but the extreme tip, it does have a sharp tip. It is nice, but I'll say the grind lines don't look perfect. They're a little lopsided. Doesn't affect the pointiness of the knife or the sharpness of the knife at all. It just, as a knife enthusiast, I can tell there's just a slight imperfection in the centering of the grind at the top. Anyways, I recommend this knife for this price range. Thanks.